Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Hogarth's Global Astrology. Know your planets, know yourself. And as you've seen, gosh, I'm making quite a few videos of late. I'm gonna post at some point when it's up. I may share a video that I did with one of my dear friends, Angelique. She has her YouTube channel and we have a debate. We talk about different things. We talk about the collective dark night of the soul, and we talk a little bit about China and about America, and we even touch a little bit on conspiracy theories. So there was a little bit of a heated exchange between the two of us. But there's much love there because we can't all agree on everything, yeah, because there is so much going on right now. Now what I wanted to do, let's see, he says quick video. I'm gonna try, but you know what, we have to talk about Giuliani, yeah, Rudy Giuliani, who, as we know, well, my name for him is Dr. Dribblehead. Yeah, so let's talk about Dr. Dribblehead because really that's really who he is. Now, what I've done is you'll see I've got my board behind me, which of course is Hoagie's transit calculator, as I have named it. But I also have Giuliani's chart here. And what I will do is I'll take a photograph of this as well, and I'll drop it in the background as well when I just want to point to specific things. So I'll do some stuff that's close to camera. We'll go to the board and then some of the stills, and we'll see how that balances out when I come to the edit. So, Dr. Dribblehead, yeah, wow. A lot going on, isn't there? There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on with him and his chart. So first of all, I want to show you his chart. This is Mayor Giuliani's chart, and as I do when I'm talking with my clients, this chart here, the D1 is where the planets are or where they were sidereally at the time that he was born. Yeah. And this is really active from 0 years up until about 35, 36. And then the energy of this chart below, the Navamsha, the D9, becomes stronger. So when we look here, and this really, once we hit 40, this is where it really kicks in. But both charts always remain true throughout life. And you can see life from both, yeah? So this is his chart. So Mayor Giuliani, when I looked him up online, he was born on the 25th of May, 1944. Wow, gosh, that's quite a work. That's Second World War times, yeah? And the time that I could find online was that he was born at 2:30 p.m. in New York, yeah? So New York. So, of course, he's a bona fide proper New Yorker. Now, what we need to understand is anyone, as I've said before, that is born around that midday point, let's say from between 12 and 2 p.m., they're going to have the sun in a high place in the chart. It just happens. And of course, surprise, surprise, it is no different for Giuliani. So if we look here, here's his sun. Yeah, there's the sun in sidereal Taurus. Yeah. And it's with Uranus and it's with Venus, yeah? So already there's some little question marks going on here, yeah? And then when we look in his second half of life chart, there's the sun again in Taurus as well, with Uranus. And that is called Vargotama. When a planet is in the same sign as it is in the D1 and the D9, it's called Vargotama. And it actually does add a bit of strength to that planet. So there's that. And what is the sun? The sun is the divine masculine. The sun represents the father. The sun is our kingdom that we're building here on earth. Yeah. And what is important to that kingdom? So if we look here, the sun is in Taurus, which is known as a materialistic sign. It is the female expression of Venus. Yeah. And he's actually got his Venus there as well. I'll show you that. There we are. There's Venus there. Sun, Uranus, yeah? So when we put that combination together, we can see here, and it's in the 9th house. Now we know what the 9th house is all about, yeah? Politics and law, yeah? So we see someone who's building a kingdom in politics, yeah, or law or such related matters. And as we know as well, yeah, he's been involved in politics for years. Yeah, there we are, no brainer, easy win. There we see Venus. Venus is strong here. Yeah, she's in her own sign. So what it does is it increases the sensuality of that Venus. Yeah, Taurus is also about values. Yeah, assets, all forms of shelter or nourishment, etc. You know, stuff like that. This is very, the voice as well, the face. Yeah, can deal a lot with fame. So here we can see in those earlier parts, if we were to take this, now I don't know about his father, maybe I should have a little quick check, but this would suggest that the father was prominent in some kind of way, yeah, because the sun also represents the father. But here, when the sun is in Taurus, he's not quite as noble as he would normally be, because we need to understand this. The sun is a malefic, yeah, but a mild malefic, but a malefic nonetheless. And what the malefics, they're cruel, yeah. But how is the sun cruel? The sun is cruel in the sense of the sun, the kingdom, the king must make sacrifices for the kingdom. Yeah, the sun must make sacrifices for the kingdom. This could be, you know, maybe not spending as much time with family. Yeah, for example, because Taurus is also the sign of family as well, because it is relative, it's the second sign, which is relative to the second house. So there could have been some elements there. Or he could have had a father that had to spend a lot of time working on his career, something like that. But it's not just that. The sun is noble. The sun wants to purify. And the sun wants to do what is right for the kingdom, ultimately. But the sun and Venus, yeah, sun and Venus, they are not friends with each other. So here we see the sun is paying rent to Venus, yeah? Why? Because the sun is in her sign. It's in the sign of Taurus. And what can happen here is it can make a person more materialistic. Yeah? The sun is less preoccupied with virtue, yeah, and doing what's right with the kingdom, and is a bit more interested in the green stuff. Now look, if your sun is in Taurus, it doesn't mean that you're, you know, money-grabbing gold digger, yeah, or something like that. No. Not at all. It just shows that you're more interested in tangible results, assets, things of value, yeah? And we can see in the early part of Giuliani's life, Dr. Dribblehead, yeah, he was successful. You know, he was the mayor and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And we can see that in his chart as well. But we can see there is this element here. And if we look, when we look at the second half of life, look, we see Venus moves away, yeah? She's no longer in that sign. She actually goes to the sign of Aquarius, which is still a good sign for her, but she's no longer with the sun. So the sun is not benefiting from maybe more of the benefic, virtuous side of Venus in her own sign, because the sun may be feeling a bit compromised when he's in Taurus, but he was there with the sign ruler, Venus. And she was strong in her own sign. So it shows that there was this interest in things material, but they weren't necessarily being the be all or end all. Here we see, and there was also as well no malefic aspect. So if we look here, we see the sun is with a benefic and it's with Uranus. So it's still unconventional. But when we look here in the second half of life chart, the sun is getting a malefic aspect from Mars and a malefic aspect from Saturn. So it's like, you know, that's not so good. I mean, Mars is a friend, so it can reinforce that sun. But Saturn is bringing something else, yeah? And it's in the sign of Scorpio, yeah, which is all about all things deep, dark, and hidden, yeah? Let me just have a little slurp. So there's that. If we go to his 10th house, yeah, the 10th house is If we look here, what is the 10th house? We know this by now. Repeat after me for those that are familiar. 10th house deals with what? Public duties, career, presidents, reputation, bosses, fame, father's wealth, honors, vocation, purpose, status, government, authority figures, highest achievements. Now this is interesting because Giuliani has got Saturn in the 10th house in Gemini, which is a strong sign, yeah, sign of communication. But here, what does Saturn represent? It represents government, yeah, a career in government, and a successful one, yeah, because Saturn does very well in the sign of Gemini, which belongs to his friend Mercury, yeah. So we see, aha, this is someone who's here who is successful in government, yeah. So again, makes sense. He was the mayor of New York. Tremendous responsibility. Saturn is the planet of responsibility. So you can see there was tremendous responsibility in his career. Now we know things have gone south since then, yeah, because when you're stepping into a room of journalists and literally you got, you know, black hair dye dribbling down the side of your face and you're spouting BS, then that's not necessarily the great progression, yeah. It's not really the great progression. And we can see here, it's very interesting to see where his Saturn moves. Now you'll find this interesting. In his main chart, Saturn is in the sign of Gemini. Good sign, yeah? Good processing power, good organization power. But looky here, Saturn stays in the 10th house, yeah? But the ascendant changes, yeah? Giuliani, Dr. Dribblehead, is a Virgo ascendant. And this is very important. Remember this, Virgo ascendant. And he's got a very significant planet in the first house, which will also make sense. But going back to see how the career has evolved, if you are an Aquarius ascendant, it means that Scorpio becomes the 10th house. Yeah. So again, name, fame, public, etc. But Scorpio is a very different sign, very different energy. And when we look here, Pluto is here. There we are, Saturn with Pluto in the 10th house in Scorpio. And what have I written here? I've put deep machinations and manipulation in the career. Yeah? And there it's got Pluto. Pluto is what? One of the names, if we think of a name that's associated with Pluto, is what? Plutocracy. So we see here that this Saturn has moved and it's got an association with Pluto, which is what? All things hidden, yeah? It can also represent the dark night of the soul. It can represent sleaze, yeah? Pluto also has a very high transformative side as well. But here we have the combination of saint and sinner. And Pluto represents the 8th house on its own. What's the 8th house? As we know, say after me, the house of sex, death, and rock and roll. Sex, death, and rock and roll. What does it deal with? It deals with the private parts, as we know. But it deals with traumas, transformation, wills, surrender, life insurance, psychology, addictions, metaphysics, inheritance, taxes, money from others. Deals with astrology, life force, shamans, and bankruptcy and disgrace. Yeah, that is quite a combination that's going on right now for Dr. Dribblehead, yeah? Don't you think? So there's that. So we see here how he's kind of had this fall from grace, yeah? Because Saturn does very well in earth signs and air signs. Not so good in fire signs or water signs, yeah? He doesn't give the best results, yeah? Because he likes things to be clear and rational. And also as well, what is Scorpio about? Scorpio has a lot to do with conspiracy theories. It's part of the shadow of Scorpio. Now, Scorpio is a wonderful sign, transcendent sign, yeah? And there are many positive elements. If we think, for example, Joe Biden is a double Scorpio. I think he's got Scorpio ascendant and the sun is there. Yeah, nice guy. And it's in the section of Anuradha. Let me just get my laptop open. And Remember what I said about the nakshatra of Anuradha? It has a lot to do with devotion, yeah? Devotion. And it's got a lot to do with self-sacrifice. And if I look here, let me just go here, just go back to my main screen, and then let me just see where we are. Rudy Giuliani. Let me just double check the nakshatra of his Navamsha. So let's see, it is at, when I consult my nakshatra wheel, his Saturn is at 6 degrees and 5 minutes of sidereal Scorpio in his D9 second half of life Navamsha chart. And let me see if that falls into Anuradha. Yes, it does. We look here. Anuradha. Yeah, there we are. Anuradha. Sub-ruled by Saturn, yeah? Or well, yeah. Sub-ruled by Saturn. If we look here, Anuradha goes from 3 degrees 20 minutes to 6 degrees 40 minutes of sidereal Scorpio. So if we look here, his Pluto is not quite there, but his Saturn is. Now, the story of Anuradha was Krishna was ill. Yeah, Krishna was ill, and he was foretold that he was going to die unless someone sacrificed his life for him and put himself in his place. The only one that put themselves forward was Radha. Yeah, and she basically endured this lifetime, it's sort of like basically this lifetime in hell. Yeah, you know, what have you, because such was her love for Krishna that she was prepared to sacrifice herself and do that. And in the end, she became immortal, yeah? So here, Anuradha deals with spiritual devotion, yeah? And having God as a friend. So when we look at this, because it's in the 10th house of career, it shows what? And it's in Scorpio. Rudy Giuliani, Dr. Dribblehead, is extremely devoted to his conspiracy theories, and prepared what? To sacrifice himself for who? The president. Yeah, the 10th house, remember as well, deals with what? Presidents. Saturn is government, and Pluto is there, which is this deep, dark aspect there. Prepared to sacrifice himself for deep, dark agendas. Now, will he throw himself on the coals or on the fire for Trump? We'll have to see, yeah? Because, you know, he's in his 70s now. You don't want to be spending the rest of your life in jail, do we? You know, does anyone want that? So we will see if he will make that ultimate sacrifice. But it shows how in bed Dr. Dribblehead was with Duck Larange, yeah? How devoted, even though it was just a whole load of cra-cra going on. But we see this, don't we, when it comes to Trump? These people that are just utterly devoted to him. And it's because he's got placements of the cult leader, basically, yeah? They just surrender their self-control and they just go with him. So we can see that vulnerability there. But also as well, when we look here at Giuliani's chart, look at this 11th house. Yeah, look at this 11th house. He's got a stellium there, which is 3 or more planets in the 11th house. And stelliums add great emphasis, and they can also cause problems. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 planets in the 11th house. What does that mean? 11th house deals with hopes and dreams, great gains, attainment of desires, lump sums or large amounts of money. Deals with friends, associates, people that live abroad as well. It also deals with embassies, yeah? A certain someone lost their job, allegedly, for entertainment purposes only, you know, in regards to something Giuliani may or may not have done, yeah? Because remember as well, they raided his flat recently. It deals with internet business, groups and organizations, humanitarianism, but it also deals with side hustle income. Deals with social conformity, herd mentality and approval from others. And Giuliani has got Jupiter, the guru, Pluto, the dark night of the soul, transformation, Mars, the planet of action, and Rahu, gobble, gobble, in his 11th house of all those things that I mentioned. So we see here he is very invested when it comes to what? Great gains. And there is more. In here he's got Rahu. One of my other nickname for Rahu is tumble dryer. Yeah, because wherever he is, he can put us into a spin. And my goodness, isn't Giuliani having a spin now? But Rahu can also deal with foreign things, yeah? Things that are not native to one's land, yeah? It's new experiences. Isn't that interesting? Rahu can also represent thieves, yeah? This is part of the shadow of Rahu, is thieves. We've got, remember, the nodes in the moon are malefic. So here, there is this element of thievery, yeah? Mars is there giving energy. But what it also can mean as well, that sometimes one's friends can also be one's enemies. Yeah, your friends can turn on you when you've got Mars in the 11th house. Yeah. But we also have Jupiter. Now, his Jupiter is actually technically exalted here. But it's exalted in the nakshatra, the part of Cancer, that is Aslesha, which deals with deep and dark things. Aslesha also deals with poison. Poison in the right dose is medicine, but a bit too much, what happens? Also as well, there is a part of Aslesha where if one is not careful, one can almost lose one's mind. Yeah, so we can look at that. Sorry for the coughing. I was fine before, and of course, a bit of phlegm coming up. Here we are. Anyway, and he also has what? Pluto. Yeah, what's Pluto? Pluto is the planet of power. Yeah, here we are. But dark power, especially. And it also deals with plutocracies and oligarchs. Yeah, so we see here there's oligarchs in where? In his house of friends and international associates. Yeah, starting to add up. Also as well, what we see here, Giuliani has got his moon in the 12th house. Yeah, the 12th house. Remember, the moon is the mind, and it's only just. It's at 00 degrees 45 minutes. But the moon, and the moon is in the sign of Leo, which deals with what? Leaders. And it's also in the nakshatra of MAGHA. Yeah? You remember when you drop the H of MAGHA, you get MAGHA. Yeah? Make America great again. This is where his mind is. Yeah? His mind is here. His mind is here. And there as well, you see, there is Chiron. Yeah? Chiron, which means a wound. Yeah? Chiron is the wounded healer. And can also reflect where we're trying to heal a wound in ourselves or in others. So if the moon is the mind, what does that mean? Giuliani has a wound in his mind. Yeah? Dr. Dribblehead, not thinking clearly. Yeah? Getting bedazzled by what? Leadership. MAGHA, winning the throne. MAGHA is about winning the throne. So we see there's an injury there. Yeah, he may have even, well, no, actually it wouldn't be a head injury, but there's mentally, yeah, there's something is not right. Something's gone wrong. Also as well, when we look here, when we look at transiting Saturn, I've drawn it in here. Here's Saturn in transit. He is having, he has got Saturn transiting his natal KETU. Now remember, if Rahu is gobble gobble, what is KETU? Snip, snip. So he's having, Saturn is triggering a kind of snip, snip in his life, yeah? Because it's gone over this KETU, yeah? But where is Saturn looking? If we look here, see the aspects of Saturn, which are 3, 7, and 10. And if we go back here to my my calculator, And if we look here, Giuliani's ascendant is Virgo. Yeah, he has a Virgo ascendant. And I'll tell you something funny about Virgos. Not necessarily all, but there is a quirk. When you are a Virgo ascendant, here, it means the 7th house is Pisces. Pisces is the sign of spirituality and all of that stuff, and expansion and compassion and what have you. Yeah, but the 7th house is anyone that is not us. Remember that the 7th house is anyone that's not us. The 7th house also deals with litigation, lawsuits and stuff, and open enemies. Jupiter is the co-ruler of Neptune, but is the co-ruler of Pisces, the original ruler, but Neptune is the co-ruler. Now we know Neptune is what? A bit of a funky planet, yeah? He's got his blessings and all that stuff, but what does Neptune also deal with? Deals with delusions, deceptions, secrets, things that are hidden, mist, fog, not being able to see things clearly, yeah? And so what this can happen is, it can mean that sometimes Virgo ascendant people don't see their partners or people in the world clearly. They can project onto them sometimes maybe even fantasies, yeah? Or they find out when they get married that they think, this isn't the person that I thought I was marrying, yeah? Or their relationships change in some way, or something hidden or something unusual comes out about the partner that wasn't known before. And on top of that, Giuliani has got, look here, Neptune in the 1st house, which is what? The body, yeah? You, the personality as well. And it's retrograde, yeah? And so here we see there is this dissolving element, this element of confusion at times in Giuliani's life, yeah, because he's got the planet of illusions in the 1st house. And then him being a Virgo ascendant, it means he's not seeing his 7th house clearly either. So we've got someone who doesn't see himself clearly, and potentially someone who doesn't see the public clearly as well, and particularly people that he's emotionally involved in or has relationships with. Little bit of duck l'orange in the 7th house. So now we really begin to see some of the troubles, some of the pickles that Giuliani's in. But there's more, of course. When we look here, transiting Saturn is looking at Giuliani's 2nd house. Now remember, wherever Saturn looks, it's going to put some kind of control and discipline on that thing. Now, that's not always a bad thing when it comes to money, because it means, we need discipline and control of our money, but it also shows that there can be a restriction, yeah? So Saturn is triggering something about Giuliani's money, yeah? And it's in the sign of Libra. Here, Libra. Libra is also the sign of litigation, yeah? And lawyers, yeah? So there's something going on with the law around his money, yeah? Jupiter is also looking as well, expanding that area too. And as we know, that's double drishti, yeah, double drishti. So we can see here, here's Saturn looking, here's Jupiter looking at his 2nd house, yeah. So that can mean lawsuits as well, lawsuits around his money because it's in the sign of Libra. Oh dear. Then we also see that Saturn, transiting Saturn, is looking at Giuliani's 7th house, yeah, the 7th house, which again, 7th house deals with other people, anyone that's not us, and can also deal with what? Open enemies. Starting to pile up now, isn't it? So there's that element there, but also as well, one of the real I can't remember that word I was going to try and say, humdingers, there we go. Saturn is looking at Giuliani's 11th house. Yeah, putting what? Scrutiny and criticism in that area. Yeah, because what is contained therein? We see, yes, Rahu or tumble dryer, which also deals with thieves. We've got Mars, which deals with energy, yeah, energy, putting a lot of energy, passion into that thing. He's been focused a lot of his energy into that, those network circles. But who with Pluto, yeah, oligarchy, plutocracies, yeah, powers, yeah, foreign powers. And there it is with Jupiter. He's giving his what? His expertise. Jupiter is what? Guru. So he's giving his expertise to these kind of areas. And again, like I said, for entertainment purposes only. So do you see what's going on? When we actually add that energy up together, this is looking quite profound. And then, of course, Saturn is looking at his second house, as I said before. So Giuliani is having major triggering right now. Jupiter is in his 6th house. Yeah. Now, remember, what is the 6th house? Wherever Jupiter sits, he expands those things. Yeah, he expands those things. And Jupiter is known as a planet of blessing, but sometimes he can expand our problems. Yeah, so what's the 6th house about? Here we go. Health and overcoming obstacles. Whoops. Deals with divorce. Deals with the digestion. He could be having some digestion issues. Deals with pets, lawsuits, debts, food and diet. Remember as well, he's also having a lawsuit for, what is it, 1 billion against him. Oh man, he's going to be rinsed if he doesn't play his cards right. Deals with accidents, thieves. It deals with challenging competition. Deals with police and military. Deals with coaching, repetitive tasks, practical skills. Also deals with accidents and enemies. Yeah. So Jupiter is in his 6th house, expanding what that house is about. And in his main chart, look, we've got the moon here in the 12th house. Now the 12th house can represent losses. So we've got the moon looking at that house. So when we see here, Saturn is a little bit of a tricky planet for the Aquarius ascendant, because even though it's the chart ruler, it does rule the 6th house. Yeah. So we see here that is causing that can cause a few problems, because I'm thinking in the context of Giuliani. Giuliani being, no, what am I talking about? For Virgo ascendant, which is what Giuliani is in his main chart, forgive me, Saturn can be tricky because it rules the 6th house. There we are. Got the words out in the right order. So we see here Saturn is kind of bringing these problems. And also as well, you know, next year, Saturn is actually going to move into his 6th house. Yeah. So, you know, things might be stirring this year, but next year could be even worse. Yeah. So there's that going on. Now the 12th house. Yeah. So we know this represents the mind, that wound to the mind. Yeah. But what's the 12th house? Deals with escape and endings. This is where his moon is, yeah? Sidereal moon. Deals with escape and endings, rest, deep research, loss, foreign lands, secrets, holidays, yeah? Secrets, confusion, spiritual retreats, hospitals, foreign income. Deals with secret affairs, expenses, endings, islands, past life, surrender, watery places, hidden enemies, hospitals and prisons. Yeah, can also deal with addictions, defeat and charity. So that's where his moon is. Yeah, now his moon is actually quite strong, and when I've got the moon in 12th house, doesn't necessarily mean the end of the world. However, Jupiter is aspecting it, and as we know, his apartments were raided recently. Yeah, his apartments were recently raided, so we know that you know there's a lot there going on. So also as well, and let's see if we look here too in his if we look in his Navaksha chart, we see Chiron again, wounded healer with Mercury in the sign of Virgo, but in the 8th house. So wound in regards to hidden matters in life, yeah? So maybe some of the stuff, some of the shenanigans he's got up to in the past are now coming to haunt him as he matured, yeah? Because he was obviously good at, you know, doing some things. You know, you can't rise to that position without being good, pardon me, at something, particularly in the pre-Trump era, which of course that's where his life was. But if we look here as well, in his 9th house, we see Mars here. And Mars doesn't do so well in Libra. Yes, in Libra, in the 9th house. So what I've written here is conflict in politics, yeah? Because remember, Libra is what? Litigation as well. And you've got Mars here, energy, and 9th house is what? The law. But it also shows that he was what? A lawyer. Yeah, he was a lawyer. Or he is a lawyer. Well, maybe not for much longer. But, you know, so we can see here, there is that activism that he had around the law. But now that it's turning, the law is facing what? Him. Yeah, so there are these difficulties going along. And also as well, when we look here via the Navamsha, Saturn is moved to the 12th house of losses. Yeah, because if your ascendant is Aquarius, yeah, this is how the energy has changed. We can see here Saturn is in the 12th house. Yeah, and we know what that's all about because I just read that off. And it's also looking at his 6th house of enemies. Yeah, 6th house there. And then it's also looking at his 2nd house of money. And it's looking at his 9th house of law. Oh man, this Saturn really is bringing some quite heavy karma here. Yeah, we see it's bringing quite heavy karma. And in his finances, we see what? Neptune with Jupiter. So Jupiter is a lot of money. Yeah, so he's obviously a wealthy guy. But look, there's some deception there around the finances. And Saturn's looking at it and scrutinizing it via the Navamsha. So we see there's an awful lot going on. If we look here, he does have Jupiter in the 1st house of the Navamsha, which will give a little bit of protection and some blessings. But look, we've got Ketu there, snip, snip. And there we've got Venus, which is women. So this could mean that a significant woman in his life might might throw him under the bus. Yeah, or there could be a female prosecutioner. Or it could be his daughter, yeah, which we know is not too pleased with him, or even the wife, yeah, represents the wife in the chart. So his wife is very significant to him, but also as well, Ketu is there. So there might be some unease, but either way, Jupiter by transit is here, triggering all this stuff off. So we see that Giuliani is about to go through some kind of spiritualization, yeah? Might have to see the light on a certain topic, yeah? Or suffer some heavy personal losses, yeah? Because Ketu is also losses. So we see there's a lot lining up there. And then finally as well, just to kind of wrap up, the Sun moves to the 4th house. Well, it stays in the 4th house, stays in Taurus, Vargotama. But Uranus is there, so I've written here eccentric feelings about the homeland. 4th house also deals with the receptive heart and the mother, yeah? And our feelings of homeland and history and stuff like that. So he's got these quite eccentric ideas about history and how it went, yeah? Maybe, you know, just a bit odd. And finally, to wrap up, when we look here, here's Rahu, gobble gobble, the direction that we're supposed to go in life is here in the 7th house, which means dealing with outside people, dealing with relationships. And here it is in Leo again. So I put here association with leaders that are morally compromised in some way. Yeah? Because Rahu represents, again, what? Thieves. Yeah, it all depends on the energy of the chart. We know with Dr. Dribblehead, this is, you know, he's manifesting the negative sides, yeah? Before he would have been able to manifest the positive sides, but he's, he's gone over to, other things. So also as well, it can mean, because the 7th house, again, is the house of open enemies, Rahu is unpredictable and exotic. My nickname again is for him is Tumble Dryer. He's got Tumble Dryer in the 7th house. So legal trouble with foreigners or in regards to foreigners. And then look, we've got the malefic aspect of Saturn. And of course, Ketu is there. And then we've got Venus looking as well. So there's something here to do with women as well. Could well emerge, or there might be a female litigator or whatnot. But, women, there will be some element there. Oh, And of course, that the female ambassador, who allegedly he made sure that she lost her job or got sacked. Yeah. And who was it on behalf of? Allegedly, foreign oligarchs. Yeah, because she was doing what? Anti-corruption. So here, this woman, yeah, Venus's woman, is gonna be instrumental in the public testimony in the case. Yeah. So I think let's just leave it there. Otherwise, I'll just go on too long. I wanted this to be a quick video. I hope you found that interesting. That was a whistle-stop tour, of course, around Giuliani's chart. Let's see what happens. But this is tricky hot water. But we can see how he's got here because he's not been realistic and he's been devoted to the wrong things. Yeah, Anuradha is wonderful, but if we were devoted to the wrong thing, then what happens? Yeah. It's not so good. So he's not seeing himself clearly and he's not seeing the outside world clearly. So let's see if he can sort himself out. But my goodness, there's a lot that he has to deal with. So if you enjoyed that video, please, of course, like and subscribe because that really helps the channel. And of course, if you would like a consultation with me, then you can visit my website, which is the archetypalblueprint.com. And yes, and then we can go through your chart together using those kind of techniques to really reveal what is going on those fundamental levels. So again, thanks so much to everyone for subscribing and watching my channel. I'll get this video up soon. I'm not sure if I'll have to do it soon. Because of course Giuliani's in the news. So I'll see if I can get that up quickly so we can see how things develop. And yes, I will see you all soon. Thanks so much. Cheers.